welcome to the Comic Conspiracy episode 453 for the week of May 19th, 2020. My name is Ryan Higgins. Who's here with me this week on our wonderful new Google Meet Hangout? It's like Hangout, but it's Meet now. And that's M-E-E-T, not M-E-A, because I don't eat meat.
Neither do I. Brock Sager.
Kevin.
The mighty Tobete.
There he is. That's as close as we'll ever get to Toby saying his real name here.
This is true.
Yeah, it's weird. Hopefully the last couple episodes, the problem with recording remote is we get to discover new ways every time of what's going right and what's going wrong. Brock, you stepped aside when we were talking about this earlier, but your audio would like lose time as time went on. So like you'd start off okay, but by the end of the episode you were like 10 seconds off. So I had to keep cutting it and like pushing you back and pushing it back. So I hope it sounded okay, but
sorry, not much I could do.
This should be okay. This should work all right. Assuming Toby doesn't crash in the middle of the podcast again. So,
and man, that's all you guys. You did that somehow.
By the time we get this perfected, lockdown's going to be done. We can do this in person.
Yeah.
So that's just how it works.
Yeah. I think instead of muting me, you just make my shit crash.
We have a ridiculous amount of stuff to talk about this week, so I'm going to try to burn through a few of these topics.
Now, the nice thing about being on Google Meets with us is you can present what you want to talk about to us, and we can see it.
Oh, but then it doesn't just like take over the video feed and everything like that?
Yeah, but it makes it look like a PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah, but then at least we get to see what you're talking about for 2 seconds, and then you can go back.
Well, I posted it on the Facebook group, so you can follow along there. The very first one, we got the solicitations for August for DC, and one of the things not on there, not surprising, was Generations. So DC Generations was supposed to be out back in March, April, right? It was April, right? It was number one. No, number one. Free Comic Day book was in April. Or first week of May, sorry. It was shipping in April, first week of May. And then Generations is supposed to be out. Generations isn't happening, guys. That book is just done. This was going to be DC's lead into their new, I don't remember what it's called, 5G, right?
What is everyone's obsessed with 5G?
Their total change of everything, but no, it's just not happening. 5G is done. So my thinking is, are you calling it 5G so that when people search up 5G, they'll come up with like the cellular network thing and this thing from DC? No, I mean it's just their, fifth generation. So like 52, 5G worked as a title, but as as something temporary. But yeah,
I have to say I was actually looking forward to it.
Someone's banging something very loud. Are you, Toby?
No, I'm hands free.
Tea kettle or something?
No, I don't even have a tea kettle, dude.
You're making some.
No, but seriously, no. I was really actually. I mean, look, I know 5G's got a bad rep from everybody, but I just got something else out of it. And ever since that stupid Dan DiDio panel, I've been thinking that's something else. You guys think it's something else, and I was actually looking forward to it just to tell you guys were all wrong.
Well, it's whatever it is. It's definitely not happening now. So I could see them doing a history of the DC universe. Oh, there, Kevin's the one making the noise with the glass.
No, I just literally picked this up like 2 seconds ago.
Sure,
He's got a kettle?
I don't even think this can make noise, Ryan, and this is some good radio.
Okay. But they
Toby walks away with the evil laugh. It was probably
they were DC Generations was going to be kind of like their version of the history of the DC universe, going back over the new continuity, post Doomsday Clock, post Metal, post whatever, and lining up like the new generation coming in. But yeah, I have to assume it's over now. With no plan to release the Free Comic Day books, which was supposed to be the lead-in issue, and clearly with Dan DiDio leaving DC, any plan he had is just done, right? It must be. So if you were looking forward to Generation, it's not happening.
That was.
Well, Toby, if you're looking forward to Supergirl or the Terrifics, they're also not happening anymore.
That's some bullshit.
Because DC is now pulling a Marvel and has decided that some of its lower-selling titles are just going to conclude digitally only, and there will be no print edition of the final issue of Supergirl 42.
Isn't it 41 and 42?
41 and 42.
That is super annoying.
Yeah.
Super annoying.
And the final 3 issues of Terrifics, 28, 29, and 30, will only be printed digitally. They will be collected later down the road in a
graphic novel that's never going to come out because it's the tail end of the series, and they are like, bought it anyway. It's like articles just need to say this is DC's fuck you to people buying print comics. Like, I
mean, Marvel did it for 8 books. DC's doing it for 2 books, but a combined total of 5 issues. So
it's an FU to print customers. Like,
it's real annoying. There are books selling less than these, so I don't really get. If DC wanted to, if they never want to publish a Supergirl book again, I mean, whatever. I would hate that, but that's their right, right? The Terrifics should have been canceled 15 issues ago. So, Supergirl's never been a bestseller, rarely been a bestseller. So I understand this book's going to conclude, and they'll bring another one back down the line. But if you want to trim the fat, trim stuff that's not out. If they released a handful of digital-only books that were just various miniseries, okay. There's like a 5-issue Man-Bat series coming out. Man-Bat's going to sell more than Supergirl? I don't think so.
Depends on who's doing those covers.
It's really weird that they're scrapping these final 2 issues.
Yeah.
Terrifics, kind of whatever. That book should have been over a long time ago, but
it's the principle, Ryan. It's the principle.
Oh no! Of course, they should have finished Terrifics. I'm gonna go to bat for Supergirl. I'm gonna send some emails. I'm gonna see what's possible.
No. You send the emails for all of it, not just one. All of it.
2 issues of Supergirl, I think we can handle. I'm gonna make some inquiries.
Brock, have you met Ryan? He fights for what he believes and only what he believes. He doesn't give a fuck about anybody else. Supergirl, he's going to write emails about.
Just tell them.
Terrifics,
just tell them to print. Just print the last issue of Terrifics is like a giant size issue, and just get one left and done. Same thing with Supergirl. Print it as a 48-page and just call it done.
I can do what I can do. If I can convince them to also publish Terrifics, more power to me. But I'm gonna send an email to some people and be like, look, this Supergirl shit. What do I have to do? What is the minimum order needed for Supergirl to be printed?
Watch it next Newsarama article. Ryan Higgins sends email to DC.
What do I have to do for a custom print run of Supergirl 41 and 42?
J. Scott Campbell.
What's that magic number?
J. Scott Campbell.
What's that magic number, DC? I'm gonna get 9. I'm gonna get 9 variant covers on it. Okay, I'm gonna get like 12 incentive covers. What's that magic number, DC?
Well, did they cancel the Warriors?
Well, we're going to hear very soon because Marvel is starting to put their books back in Diamond's catalog. I don't think that new Warrior series is going to come out. I think the blowback was so bad for that. You're going to see some of the Marvel books that have been solicited just not ship.
Yes. Sorry, that one I wrote it at.
Wait, remind me who was in that new Warriors team?
Let's not talk about it. Let's not talk
real
about
characters.
No, I know, but just remind me of who one of them was. Any.
Speedball, Firestar, Justice.
No.
Night Thrasher. Or you're talking about
the new characters.
Snowflake.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
What's the other one? Snowflake. I don't have the list in front of me. Hashtag. Was one of them called Hashtag?
I don't know. God, no.
Yeah.
It'll be digital only, baby.
Unbelievable.
Dude, if DC just put a Campbell variant on that last Supergirl, it's going to sell like bonkers. It's like people that don't even care about the series will totally buy it.
Well, was it Derek Chu that was doing the variants?
Derek Chu, and Archer was doing them.
Yeah, before. Yeah. To me, it's crazy if they're not going to publish those books. And then On top of that, today, DC surprise launched a new digital first comic, which is called DCeased Hope at World's End, which is a 14-chapter, meaning 7 issue. Or maybe even less. Maybe it's even less than 7 issues, because it was like listed as 22 pages, but apparently it's like each panel or each like 2 panels is a page, like in the digital reading format. So like it's I don't know what it. Maybe it's only like a 3 or 4 issue miniseries, but it's written by Tom Taylor, and it's set during the events of DCeased number 5. So the new series Dead Planet comes out pretty soon. It's like next couple of weeks, right? It's really soon.
It's soon. Unkillables is finishing up this week.
This week, yeah. But this is a digital exclusive DCeased comic, but it's part of their digital first program. It's not digital only, it's digital first. So we are going to get a print version of this eventually. DC's not stupid. Like, they can make some boneheaded decisions, like canceling Supergirl and not publishing those last 2 issues. But they're not going to throw away the money that comes from DCeased. That is a big hit for them. So clearly this is just,
Well, and the variants on those make a ton of money as well.
Yeah, it's a top 20 book. Even the second series, which hasn't sold quite as well as the first series, it's still a top 20 book. There's no way in hell they're going to pass that off as a digital exclusive. So it's a temporary exclusive, but there will be a print version down the road.
Hey, speaking of the future of DC, I just have a short news item to interject. I was listening to an interview with Mark Waid, and the topic was something about something Superman related. Mm-hmm. And Mark said, well, it was some question about a story that he maybe wished he had written or something like that. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is his answer was, well, now the door is wide open again. He goes, it's so weird to be getting calls from DC editors now.
Well, I noticed he was on an episode of the DC Daily Show, and I was like, it's like because they're doing the whole live stream thing now, right? Because of the shutdown, and I'm like, oh, Dan's gone, so Mark Waid's back on the DC's call list.
Yeah, that was the sticking point.
Yeah. I mean, this is as public as any feud has ever been in comics.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He said he would never work for DC while Dan Didio was there.
Oh, I didn't know that one, actually.
So, so you could set your clock for like a year from now when Kingdom Come 2 is going to be coming out, right?
Oh, so Charlie's happy.
Alex Ross and Mark Waid are like, it's our time. Now we can do it. So... that was pretty funny. I meant to actually ask you that, Kevin, if you'd heard anything, because I did see him on that DC Daily, and I was like, okay. Yeah. And what's funny to him, he has he is a massive DC fanboy. He is arguably the biggest DC fan in the world, right? And nobody knows the knowledge he does. And to write the company off for well over 10 years is pretty crazy.
And it came down to just a personality clash, pretty much. Yeah. It's not like there was some business deal went sour or something like that.
Well, Dan Didio and Mark Waid both have very large personalities, so I can see them not getting along. But the end, we are not done with the DC Comics shakeup because they are ending Harley Quinn with issue 75 in August. Kind of out of nowhere.
To relaunch with a new number 1 in 3 months.
I'm sure. That she won't be gone for that long. But I'm surprised
it wasn't digital only, for the last few issues of Harley, because,
No. But on a more personal note, Joshua Williamson is ending his run on Flash, which he's been writing a lot. He wrote a ton of issues of Flash.
Yep.
So, is it nearing 100? It's got to be up close to 100 issues.
Well, they transitioned to 750 in the
the issue mid-80s or something.
Yeah, in the mid-80s, and then they're doing that might be 100.
It's really close if it's not 100. So, he's had a killer run on the Flash. I really like this stuff, so we'll see who takes over next. But that's big. Hey, maybe Mark Waid. Maybe Mark Waid jumps right back in the Flash.
Wow.
He did not have a great exit from that book when he came back during the Wally years. So I'm sure he wouldn't mind another crack at Barry, or a crack at Barry. He never wrote. I mean, he was only writing Flash during the Wally years.
I mean, unless you count that Return of Barry Allen storyline.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he. He wrote Barry in.
He wrote that
Walker year one.
Yeah, and he wrote that life story of the Flash, that graphic novel.
Yeah. So wait, he's probably written Barry in a couple other situations, but yeah, most of Mark Waid's run has been with Wally. So yeah, a lot of shake-up at DC.
Joshua isn't he still exclusive with DC? Didn't he re-up his contract?
Joshua Williamson. Oh no, no, he's out of Walton. I don't remember if he's exclusive with DC, but yeah, he doesn't do anything else. He just has the Image book, so he's probably exclusive.
Yeah. But I think his contract was up, and so, because I think I saw him tweeting about it. He's like, still going to be at DC, got more to tell, more stories to tell.
Yeah, no, he's a great writer, and obviously, the books he does for Image are I'm very, I knew like the new series of Nail Biters coming out, and Birthright. So I mean, he's going to continue his independent work too. But I would hate to see him lose him at DC. He does some really good work.
Yep.
And right now we're very much in a holding pattern with Marvel because we just don't know what the lineup is going to look like. I even went to put in my initial order, and everything was still there from Marvel. They just have no dates for anything. So there's going to be a massive cancellation list for Marvel coming up in the next few weeks as new books are loaded into the system. They put up their list of books through the end of July, and I
totally just realized I never turned in my FOC order yesterday.
No, I just don't bother anymore. I just don't bother.
Fuck you.
You can look on the shelf.
Oh.
So, like, the stuff coming out in July is like it's like it's only big stuff. Amazing Spider-Man, Avengers, Captain Marvel, Empire, FF, Giant Size, Guardians, Hulk. Daredevil, Empire is fucking weekly apparently. Hellions and New Mutants, all the Star Wars stuff. It is like there is no garbage here. It is only the big titles. I think a lot of that little stuff. I think a lot of those True Believers. I think a lot of those reprints. We may never go back to a point where Marvel's putting like 120 titles out a month. This may have been a weird wake-up call for them, or they may have got just, with the furloughs, they may have just had their editorial ability just cut in half. So, I mean, who knows, right? 6 months from now, it could be the same as it ever was. But for now, there's a huge cutback from Marvel, humongous, and all those little books, all those miniseries, they're all off the schedule. So. We'll just wait. I mean, I hope Empire's a success because it's like half the books being published are Empire related.
Well, they've had time to finish up some of those scripts and get some of that art done. So maybe that's why they pushed it weekly.
Well, Empire, I mean, it already was, I think, like they were coming very quickly. So there wasn't like there was a big like delay. They were like 2 a month or something. So I'm pretty sure they were already kind of cranking them out. But for the rest of the books, I don't know what their plan here was. Do you want to transition over some movie and TV talk? And before we close out, we're going to talk about the first episode of Stargirl. Has everyone had a chance to see it? Brock,
nope.
You were going to.
It's recording tonight. On
Okay. Well, I will keep it spoiler free. Kevin, you watched it?
I did see it. Yeah.
Okay. Toby, did you get a chance to see Stargirl yet?
I fell asleep to it.
You saw the first 10 minutes.
I just saw a giant.
That is actually, all kidding aside, that's true. What you just said.
We'll get to Stargirl at the very end, so we can keep that. But there was quite a bit of DC news for TV shows and movies this week, and a little bit of Marvel. I'll start with the Marvel thing really quick. because it was really the only Marvel bit of news this week, and that is New Mutants is rescheduled for August.
Awesome.
Okay.
Just release it digitally already.
August 28th. And, with the way the countries have been going over the last week, and even California is moving into opening up much more after significant increase in testing. Bay Area, I don't know if you guys saw, no deaths in 2 days, which is pretty great.
In 2 days?
Yeah. 2 days of no recorded deaths in the Bay Area. That's from coronavirus.
Yeah.
That's a very big step.
Yeah.
Considering we were one of the hardest hit.
Well, one of our customers who came in yesterday when I was working, he's a nurse up at Stanford, and he was saying that we got hit, but we didn't get hit as hard because of, the tech industry. The tech industry was quarantining people in place, work from home stuff as early as February.
Immediately.
I remember like a span of 2 weeks talking to customers who normally travel. Oh yeah, we can only go to certain places. Oh, we can't go anywhere. Oh, we're working from home. Right? Like within 2 weeks, it was like boom and done. So I think that we were better prepared in that aspect because the tech industry did that and kind of reduced exposure population. And then the county just went. Our county at least went before the state. So
yeah, very 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 fast. But you saw places like Texas and other. Minnesota and a few other states that are just like it's the Wild West, and those rates are going up and up.
There's a Comic-Con in Tampa in July that announced today they're having it.
Yeah, I cannot believe it.
They're trying to be the only Comic-Con past C2E2 this year.
They can do it, but what's the attendance going to be like, right? Yes, some people will show up, but it's going to be quiet. Even with places open, the average public are still not going out and shopping. There are incidences and cases where people are, but it's not going to be crazy. So
yeah, I went to Target today, and normally there have been lines, like you wait outside and they pace you in.
Yeah.
There was none today in the afternoon. I was like, okay, so I think people are kind of just pacing themselves a lot better. Even our customers coming back to the store. We get a handful of people for curbside, but people still want us to ship. So,
yeah, August 28th is quite a bit away, but it's gonna. Really, this is a week by week case, so they can leave that August date.
So, Kevin, are we getting bets going for they move the date again?
I've already got enough of a big enough betting pool already for this year. I want to see New Mutants. I'm excited to see it. New Mutants, James Bond, and Wonder Woman are the three movies I most want to see this year. And so I'll take whichever one I can get first.
Well, what's funny is New Mutants went from something I didn't care about to I'm really, really, really curious about the movie now because it kept getting pushed back. So it actually...
Oh, yeah.
It changed my...
I'm very excited.
Yeah, it changed my, view on it in ways because at first,
It will be a little strange. It will be a little strange, Toby, because all of the people in that movie are like 4 years younger when you see them on the screen versus how they are now.
You think 4? I'm thinking 10.
Someone sent me an article today that was like New Mutants cast celebrates the 20th anniversary of the movie not being released.
Was that an Onion article?
Wonder Woman is still set for... Oh, sorry. Tenet is still set for July 17th, the Chris Nolan movie. And if that gets pushed back, one of the dates that are very possible that they could push back to is August 14th, which is Wonder Woman's next, attempted date, which puts it, that's 2 weeks prior to the New Mutants.
Everything is going to come out in August now, man. Just line it all up.
That studio is not going to release their two huge movies on the same day. Something's going to move.
Well, right, Wonder Woman. If they push, they're going to keep pushing this stuff back. There's been reports by Deadline that Wonder Woman could get pushed back as far back as December, which may not be a bad idea. But the flow of the stuff is going to just keep happening, where they're going to keep pushing back, and smaller movies may be able to succeed at drive-in theaters and limited engagements and socially distant theaters where they can have a quarter as many seats. But that's Wonder Woman if they're waiting for that theater for 130 million opening weekend, or if Bond needs that 100 plus million opening weekend, like, you're not getting that today.
Are you saying Wonder Woman is going to become the new Mutants?
All of these movies are. Unless.
So you really saying New Mutants was ahead of its time?
I mean, Wonder Woman opens. Okay, well, here's a question for all of us. Wonder Woman opens in theaters this Friday. Do you go?
Oh, no.
This Friday?
This Friday. Let's say this Friday.
I did buy my hazmat suit. I sadly have returned because Wonder Woman got pushed out, so I have to replace my order for it. But, if I get my Bubble Boy suit or a hazmat suit, I totally go. If
it's not a socially distanced theater, I won't go.
I've discovered my new favorite showtime, especially with these blockbuster movies where this is an option, is like the 7 a.m. weekend show. So if that was an option, I would go.
But there's like 4 people in the theater.
Do you trust?
I like that under any circumstances, but especially now.
Do you trust the 14-year-old sanitizing the theater, though?
Well, I just wash the clothes that I sit in the theater seat with. I won't touch anything.
Nothing has changed. Everything is exactly the same. August 14th, are you seeing Wonder Woman?
Well,
picture things are exactly like they are now.
Yeah.
We've had 3 months from that. Do you go?
Yes.
Do you go to a 9 p.m. Friday show?
No,
I wouldn't do that no matter what.
Because no one's been sitting in that theater for the last, I don't know how many months.
Right.
So I'll do the very first showing. I'll buy 20 tickets so no one could be around me. Show I will go to. Yes, absolutely.
That's fine. Yeah.
I mean, I think what it is I think without a vaccine, without any real safety precautions in place, besides, Toby's idea of getting a full hazmat suit, or buying out half of the theater just so you can sit within, with nobody around you. I mean, unless it's a safe distance theater, there's no guarantee,
Yeah, that's the problem. There is no guarantee. We just don't know.
I'm totally willing to get a hazmat suit that has a visor that pops up so I can enjoy the movie. And then when it's done, I'll pop that shit back down.
Well, for me, when I go out and I'm wearing my mask, it's it just blows air and fogs my glasses all the time. So it's I don't want to sit in a theater and have to deal with that shit.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I would gladly pay $20 to watch Wonder Woman at the comfort of my own home digitally.
You'll pay a lot more than 20.
Yeah, it's going to be at least minimum.
It'd be more like 50.
Yeah, minimum.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty much what I spend with my kids anyway. So sure, why not?
I think that's exactly when me and Leanne go to the movies. Right? It's an $18 ticket. Right? We're doing the opening night. What is it? The IMAX.
IMAX right? Reserve seating. So,
yeah, reserve seating and reclining. Those are $20 tickets these days. So sure, if it pops up for $40, okay. Well, I guess this is how I'm watching it. But yeah, I would be. I don't think I could, in good faith, go to a theater anytime soon. Not
first showing, Ryan. I'm telling you, first showing.
But everyone's going to be there, right? I mean,
five rows to yourself.
Well, we'll just see. We'll just see if this gets pushed back. And here's the thing that sucks. So DC has now resolicited all their Wonder Woman 84 variant covers again, right? So they had all those covers that were supposed to come out when the movie was originally scheduled for May.
Yeah.
And then they've get pushed back to August. So they're all going to come out with some new issues in August. If it gets pushed back in August to December, hey, guess what? All those variant covers are getting pushed again. So I have to cancel them and then cancel those orders and get more orders and then cancel them again.
Oh,
pain in the ass. All right. TV. Boy, what a lot of TV. A lot of TV news this week. We have to start with the huge story from earlier today.
Yep.
Ruby Rose, Batwoman, gone. She is out. She left the show after one season. She is back. She is. Let me see if I have a.
I'm actually kind of surprised that that's even possible.
Well, we'll talk about a couple possibilities here in a second. She said, I made the very difficult decision to not return to Batwoman next season. This was not a decision I made lightly, as I have the utmost respect for the cast, crew, and everyone involved in the show in both Vancouver and Los Angeles. Blah, blah, blah. Thank you to everyone. Thank you to everyone who made the season a success. I am truly grateful. I'd say there's two likely scenarios of why she left, but we'll probably never know for sure. One is, unsurprisingly, she received just the worst troll attacks constantly when she joined.
And it started right off the gate, too.
Of course,
yeah, I mean, when they announced her as Batwoman for the crossover event, like, what was it? Which one was it? Elseworlds? Or was it the one before?
Yeah, Elseworlds is what she started,
yeah, I mean, the trolls were out in full force with that.
It's weird because the normal trolls hate her because she's a woman, hate her because she's LGBTQ. However, she also got trolled from the gay community for not being gay enough to be Batwoman because she's bisexual. And that's a whole other, like, okay, so she got it from two very weird, very unfortunate kind of angles.
She got it from two different extremes on opposite sides.
Yeah, it's just an ugly situation all around. However, I don't know if that's actually the reason she left. It is a very good possibility because she got really hurt filming.
Oh, wait, I remember that.
First season. Yeah, she like literally broke her neck. Like she did something to her neck.
She had two herniated discs.
And I can look up here and see what the exact.
I did. I read a few things beforehand. She had surgery on two herniated discs, I believe.
So it's possible that it just could have been too difficult for her to continue doing some of those stunts, even though they had the stuntmen. But
I mean, she was also in John Wick 2.
Yeah, she's done.
So like, she's done like some really like intense acting for her body and stuff like that. So
yeah, she did a lot of these stunts on Batwoman. So it's very possible that just it may be too demanding of a role, that she may have really hurt herself and she can't do it anymore, which would be very unfortunate. And they're both
It'll be very unfortunate if she has lifelong injuries from the show.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to guess your second scenario is the more likely, because there's no way that the studio is just going to sign the lead actress, no less, to we'll just sign you for one season and we'll work it out if there's a second one. There's no way. She's for one with probably an option for 4 more after that. So for her to just say, I quit and walk away, and they say, okay, cool, there's got to be something, and it can't just be the trolling. It's got to be like a physical,
right? Like,
we're going to just buy you out, you say, and just call it a day, and we move on. You don't just like leave it up to the actor to say, I don't want to do this anymore. Okay, that's cool.
Not with something like this.
Right.
Yeah. Like in the case of like the Watchmen TV show, if none of those, even they probably still even signed those people to multi-show agreements, even though it never really was planned for more than one, because that's just what they do.
Yeah.
But I'm sure if, in the case of Watchmen, if 5 years down the road they want to come back, I can't imagine those same contracts would hold up. They would give you options to kind of come back or not come back. But in the case of Batwoman, where it's like you're tied in with all these other shows.
Yeah.
One of the other topics we're going to talk about here is there's supposedly a Superman and Lois and Batwoman crossover coming next year, right? They have to plan this stuff so far in advance for television that they're not going to sign her. Be like, yeah, okay. You can leave if you want. I mean, stuff can happen. They have replaced actors, right? This is not the first time.
I mean,
there could have been some massive fight, but I don't think so.
No, I'm going to guess, and this is all just people speculating on a podcast, it's either what you said about there's some underlying health issue that they don't want to make public, and so it's just I've made the difficult decision, or she was fired, and it's one of those firings where you just announced that you're quitting.
Right.
Because there's no way it's not one of those two with a TV structured contract. There's just no way. It's got to be one of those two.
Right. And I can't say I follow the rumor mill of actors and how they are, and how they are around other people, but I've never heard anything like that she's a nightmare to work with or anything like that. So yeah, I don't have any clue what could possibly have happened to have her like for her to be fired from the show, but I mean,
right. I'm just throwing out the way a contract like that would be structured.
Happen, whether it's the injury or
it's got to be something serious that prevents her from going on.
Which may have gotten serious, right?
Yeah.
I think we may have just talked over each other.
That's all right.
No, go ahead, Toby.
I'm not getting any recording from you. Are you seeing a recording on your side? I'm going to mark
Who's you?
I am.
Here, Toby.
Yeah. No, I am. I see it.
You see it moving on your side? Yeah. The recording in progress? Okay. Absolutely. I do not see it on my side. Okay. Yeah. Good. I just made a little timestamp there, so I'll edit this out when I go to...
Yeah. No, all I'm saying is, look, I think something serious happened behind the scenes. And whether it's the injury or the trolling, which may have gotten serious, we never know, right? It might have been some death threats or something, and it's serious enough for them to mutually agree that she moves on. Yeah. So it may not even be anything hopefully it's not the injury, but maybe just be something they mutually agreed on. Going, look, this is the way to go on. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. My point was it's not just her saying, I don't want to do this anymore, and them saying, okay.
Yeah, no, that can't be it. That can't be it. I think there's something serious happening. Yeah.
They had finished 20 of the 22 planned episodes, so for now...
So they're recasting it, right?
Yeah. So they're not canceling it. They're going to recast it. So this is the first... I don't know... The only character I could think of was I asked around on Twitter, and the only character that really got brought up was in the pilot of Arrow, someone else was Sarah. They had a different actress playing Sarah Lance.
That's a cameo, and that's a cameo. Yeah,
right, exactly. She was not in it for very long. It was a brief scene. She was not a major character. So, and recasting after a pilot is a common enough,
very common
thing. Yeah. So, I don't know that I could think of any.
Well, there was a recast in Constantine. The main female lead was changed from the pilot to
but that's again a pilot though.
Yeah, but that's
yeah, they changed that.
Wait, did they change somebody's mom?
Vixen, they were we're still going to have Vixen, but we're going to recast the actress, but she's technically a different character.
Yeah.
So that's a workaround where it was technically a different character. So even though it's a different actress, it's...
Well, that they did after Flashpoint.
Yeah.
I've never heard of a show replacing their lead, though. Look, they
American Gods?
I'm sure it's happened.
Bewitched.
The Lethal Weapon changed their lead, right? But it was a different character. Right. What's the other one? The mom in Will Smith got changed, but I don't consider that necessarily the lead, right? It's not,
that's right.
It's not Will that got changed. Yeah. It's Will's mom that got changed, right? So
yeah. The mom and
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yeah. But I've never heard of a TV show where the actual lead, the title of the show is Batwoman.
Right.
They recast Batwoman on the second. I've never heard of that before, right? I mean, yeah, and even Lethal Weapon, it's a different character, and I was like, they're not going to pull that off, and I don't think that show survived after that. I mean, Charlie was still watching it, but
well, they have. I mean, if any show can make it work, it's this, because they have a built-in mechanism to make it make sense.
Yeah,
they have Flash and Crisis on Infinite Earths. They could just be like, there's a antimatter wave washes over Gotham, and she's a different person, and they just fucking move on, right? And they never acknowledge it.
Yeah.
Well, they've kind of almost wasted that with the Alice story in that, because they brought in positive Alice.
Like her doppelganger.
Her doppelganger, and then they were like, they couldn't exist on the same plane, and all of that stuff was making sense. So it's like, okay, well, that's cool, but now it's like, oh, are you going to do that again? Or
they could just have some, that the real Batwoman was actually the real Kate Kane was actually being held this whole time during Crisis, and the one that was here was an Earth 2 doppelganger, and now boom, all of a sudden they literally of any show they can actually do some. I mean, they could just completely ignore it. They could just have a new actress and never mention it, but they could have a lot of fun with it if they want to, and I almost think they should. That could be funny. Real weird. Super, super weird.
You know, it's funny.
So Ryan, would you rather, if there was a different Agent Dale Cooper that was not Kyle MacLachlan but was playing the same character, would you rather they acknowledge it and try to give some explanation, or just like play it straight with no acknowledgement at all?
I mean, of all characters, that is, I mean, come on.
Yeah, but Batwoman might be somebody's Dale Cooper.
I don't know. Like, look, I like her, but not that. Come on. Kyle MacLachlan's on another level from everyone else. But again, Twin Peaks has the ability to be like doppelganger.
That's what I'm asking. Would you want them to come up with some weird explanation, or just keep the scenes going as if it's him?
I mean, people have said, like, would you want a non-David Lynch, like a Mark Frost only season 4 of Twin Peaks, or would you want, like, you know, there's not a lot of these actors are not going to be around in the next couple of years. They're getting pretty old. You know, when most of them are dead, is it worth even revisiting? And it's kind of like, can you imagine like some network remake of Twin Peaks, like in like 20 years with like all different actors?
I can just imagine you sitting on your futuristic recliner, going. They're going to remake Twin Peaks. It's over, and like killing. Let's just like killing.
As he's tweeting from the Wall-E spaceship.
Yeah,
I just hear Leanne groan in the back when I said that. So yeah, no. It's called Riverdale. That's what she said. Riverdale's the modern Twin Peaks.
It's funny because I think originally when they casted Ruby Rose, I was like, wow, I was surprised that they were able to get her. Because at the time she was kind of coming up in the movie world, so I was really surprised she was willing to do a TV show. So in a ways, I was like, man, they really like kind of in ways overshot it at the time. Like instead of a no name, it was actually a known person in the genre.
Yeah.
So I was
that was one of my thoughts, that shooting a movie is one thing. Shooting a 22 episode television show at a 5-year commitment is a whole other thing.
Absolutely.
With a crossover on top of that.
She could have maybe had some like 1 year like. Maybe they wanted her that badly, and they're like a 1 year opt out.
Like Doctor Who, Eccleston season 1. I'm out.
Yeah. I mean, right?
Yeah, he announced it though. I think he was like, I'm in for one season and I'm out.
Yeah, Doctor Who has a built-in mechanism to rotate actors.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
They are for the most part, they are different characters, right?
Yeah.
They are all called Doctor Who. It's like kind of like James Bond. These actors are, they're very different takes on the character.
Who's your James Bond, though?
If you talk to Charlie, he swears that James Bond is a Time Lord. that it's actually, he regenerates through the different James Bond movies.
Yeah. well, the popular theory for like kind of like James Bond metafiction now is that like James Bond is not a person. James Bond is a title, and that these stories have all happened in chronological order. And Sean Connery was just called James Bond. He's not the same character.
James Bond Prime.
Take the same name. Yeah, they just take the same name, and when as time goes on, new people.
Well, that theory doesn't work because there was some cross actor continuity,
right?
As if it had happened to the same person. I mean, they've given that up with Daniel Craig. That's a reboot. Yeah. But before Daniel Craig, there was continuity, so that couldn't just be a title because all of those adventures happened to the same person.
Right. All right.
Anyway, welcome to the Bondcast.
Wait, which one did they acknowledge like the previous movies?
So, okay, we'll go. I'll give you the 30-second one. There's more than this, but I'll just give you this one.
Yeah, bring it on.
So at the end of on Her Majesty's Secret Service, which was the only George Lazenby Bond movie, he gets married and then his wife is killed by Blofeld.
Okay.
In one of the Roger Moore movies, he's going to the gravesite of that wife to leave flowers, and on her headstone says like the acknowledgement of the year that she died in Her Majesty's Secret Service as her actual death date.
Huh.
And then Blofeld attacks him at the cemetery knowing he was going to be there.
Oh, I was going to say, it could just be a guy, like, mourning for his previous guy's title's wife.
Some other dude's wife.
Yeah.
So we got a script you have to follow being James Bond. You have to go visit this gravesite. You have to have martinis, of course, shaken, not stirred.
I probably should have said spoilers for the 1969 on Her Majesty's Secret Service.
You're going to get so many angry emails.
Yeah. No, so direct them to Ryan.
On that, I'm really, really happy that the latest Mission Impossible actually went back to the wife storyline. It really bothered me that after the third one, she just kind of disappeared. And I'm really, really happy that they kind of went back to it, even just to wrap it up. I'm really glad they did that because they actually really bugged me through the other ones that they didn't really mention that.
Well, we have two quick things here for DC, and then I know Toby wants to talk about Umbrella Academy.
Yes!
So Superman and Lois comes out January 2021, so that's going to take over Arrow's Tuesday night time slot, and there is a planned Batwoman and Superman and Lois crossover for 2021. Maybe not anymore, but that was the talk.
Well, they can still do it with season 2's actress.
Yeah. Well, of course. So Superman and Lois, Batwoman, Flash, and Black Lightning are all coming back very early 2021. Assuming production is able to pick up soon and they can film.
So you're telling us it might be March. Okay.
Well, right. This is like everything. This is very much in flux. Supergirl and Legend Tomorrow are both being mid-season replacements, or not replacements, but they're going to be mid-season shows. But the seasons are not starting in like September this year, so mid-season doesn't really mean much. Mid-season could be like June. We don't know. And Supergirl's always been the longer show. Legends has always been 13 episodes, so I don't know if they're going to do a half season for Supergirl or she's still going to get the full 22 and roll through the entire summer into September. Let's assume normal filming schedule comes back. But the big question is, do you remember there's another CW superhero show coming on top of Stargirl, on top of all the ones we mentioned? And that's Green Arrow and the Canaries, the spin-off show with the kid.
That's a maybe.
That is a maybe.
It's a maybe now. I thought it was a thing. They didn't say no yet. So I didn't realize that the 100 had a prequel show in the works. So both the 100 prequel show and the Green Arrow and the Black Canaries, they announced that they're still on the table, but they haven't committed to the shows yet. So they're not canceled or not forgotten. They just haven't greenlit them completely yet. Yeah,
I would guess that they're gonna the shutdown probably put both of them into a pretty maybe 2022. We'll see. Because maybe Batwoman flames out. Maybe they can't get someone. Maybe they cancel it. Boom. Then Green Arrow and the Black Canary and the Canaries is in. Right. It's a lot.
Yeah.
But who knows? Right. So. That's a weird one. If that never happens, I might not care. That's such an odd...
Because it's going to be in the future, right? It's not going to be in the same time.
No! They come back to the present in that episode.
Okay.
Or after... Or they're in the future in that episode, but then they come back to the present for the finale. So, I don't know if it would be in the future or... It's real weird. Yeah, it's not even that much in the future. It's very briefly in the future. And finally, although I'm assuming it launches same day on DC Universe, but Doom Patrol comes back very soon. I totally had the date in front of me, and now I don't. Where'd it go? It's here somewhere. June something. Did I grab the wrong article or something like that? Goddamn CBR. Well, let's see. Let's do this live. Doom Patrol Season 2 release date. There we go. June 25th. So it is both DC Universe and HBO Max. So I thought we'd have a little bit more of a wait for Doom Patrol Season 2, but very happy that got picked up. I know they've been promoting that a lot for HBO Max, which comes out next week. Oh, you guys thought I forgot. You thought I forgot our most important topic for the night. Before we get to Umbrella Academy, before we get to Stargirl.
Uh-oh.
When you're hearing this episode, we may live in a post-Snyder Cut world.
Oh, God. Shoot me in the face.
The rumor is
Oh, man.
During Zack Snyder's Man of Steel watch-a-thon and commentary, live commentary tomorrow.
Is this separate from the Higgins-Larson Man of Steel commentary? I just want to make sure I'm getting these.
You could have taken bets on which one will come out first. Crazy that the Snyder one is coming out first.
One of the options is Hell is Frozen Over, right?
So major industry, like movie reviewer, movie news people that were like, the Snyder Cut does not exist. They all this week have tweeted like, holy shit. Okay, well, bookmark this tweet for later. And the rumor is that during Snyder's watch-a-thon for Man of Steel.
So this is May 20th, just so people who are listening at May 20th.
That he's going to announce the release of the Snyder Cut. Assuming HBO Max next week.
Now this might get Ryan to subscribe to HBO Max.
Well, I was subscribing one way or another. I'm just waiting to see.
I know.
I'm just waiting to see if I get it for free through Comcast or not. That's the holdout right now. So, I'm going to sign up one way or another. Either get it for free or I pay like the $10.
Yeah.
Like, big deal.
That'd be so crazy.
Well,
what? Oh, if the Snyder Cut actually happens.
It'd be nuts. And you know what'd be even crazier is if it's actually successful, if people actually like it better. Because right now people are just clamoring for something better, right? But if you remember originally when Snyder got, moved on because of the family issues, right? It was family issues, I believe.
Right.
People were saying like Joss Whedon is the savior. He's like fixing the stuff. Because I'll be honest. I'm not his biggest fan. I always like applauded his enthusiasm. I'm not the biggest fan of his work. But at the time, people were jumping on the Joss Whedon bandwagon going, he's going to fix everything. The DC universe is going to be fine now. And down with Zack Snyder. I think it's really funny how people all turn around now and we're like, we want the Snyder Cut. Really funny.
Well, you know who they hate, right? You know who the fault of this is. It's our boy Jeff Johns.
Yeah.
He's the one that he was the one that was in charge of DC films or whatever it was during all this point. They hate Whedon and they hate Jeff Johns, like the Snyder fanboys. They think Jeff Johns is ruining the DC film universe.
Wow.
By getting Joss Whedon to finish up Justice League and making all the changes, and that Justice League was going to be the greatest movie ever made.
What did you just say?
That Justice League was going to be the greatest movie ever made.
Okay.
It's the Zack Snyder version.
Well, look, I don't like to put hate out there, right? So, look, the movie is what it is, and it'd be really kind of interesting, and I don't want to light fire on the Snyder fanboys. I personally would be really happy if this is so good that it reignites the Justice League talk. It brings back Ben Affleck. Yeah. It brings back Cavill, who swears he's not out, but it seems like he's out.
Right.
And then we're back on track. I would love for I love Whedon. Snyder I respect. But if somehow this version brings everybody back on the table and Warner Brothers okay, let's make more. I would like nothing more than that. Because I actually like the way they cast it.
I'm right there with you. I like the Snyder movies quite a bit. I think Whedon was brought in with a really tough movie to kind of work around, and I'm very hit or miss on what his parts of the movie were. I thought the jokes didn't quite work.
Your favorite scene is a Whedon?
The fight scene,
the Flash, the running.
Yeah, that's an incredible scene, but the Batman falling on his back and moaning and some of the weird comedy bits did not. It didn't fit that movie, right? You have two different styles.
You also have the fact that the Justice League. The studio was wanting that movie finished and done in under a certain amount of time. They were most likely just telling Whedon to just get it done,
Yeah, they knew they were already neck deep in that movie by the time BVS came out, and the feedback was the blowback of BVS caught them. This is the story, right? It caught them totally off guard. They had no idea that people weren't going to like it. They thought it was perfect.
Yeah, it's really weird because I actually loved Man of Steel and hated BVS. So it's weird because the Snyder haters seem to just hate everything he did. I did not. I actually really, really liked Steel, and I did not like BVS. And then Justice League was Justice League.
Yeah, it's not perfect, but I think there's some really good stuff in it, and there's some stuff I would have done without, but I just don't know what their plan is.
It's just funny because everything I read of what Snyder's planning, I was like, fuck, this could have been really cool.
Yeah, but the problem was he was planning, again, I will continue to defend these movies, but I do agree with the fact that he was planning Endgame before we had one Avengers movie, right?
Yeah, sure.
And that's sort of the problem here, is that it was he had his goal, which is outstanding, but we should have had 10 movies prior to
absolutely.
Dark Side at the end of the world.
It's going a little way too fast. I agree.
Despite me liking these movies, I can say we have the same problem with the Green Lantern movie. You don't start with Parallax, right? There are some of these elements that I think like they're trying to rush the big movie first.
Yeah.
And I think they should have built up to some of this stuff. But what are you gonna do? But yeah, no. If it's actually out and it's well received, I don't know what they do. I can't imagine they do another movie with the same people and with Zack Snyder. I can't imagine it. But I don't know. If the Snyder Cut comes out, then I can, because they're going to have to pour millions and millions of dollars into this movie to finish the effects and to make it a workable movie. It was not done. I mean, it was apparently more done than we thought, but it was not a finished movie. So it'll take quite a bit to get this done. We'll find out.
Really curious.
Oh, well, tomorrow morning when we wake up, we may.
I think our listeners want to.
Podcast is up.
Our listeners want to know, Ryan, are you participating in that Zack Snyder Man of Steel watch?
Actually,
I think it's on. What's that site? Vimeo or Vimeo? Not
Vimeo.
Is it
not Vimeo? I thought it was. It's not that.
No, I think he uses some other site.
Yeah, he does. He's using some. Yeah.
He's TikToking it.
Yeah, right.
No, it's
where's that sound effect, Higgins?
Oh,
Vero there.
Vero, Vero, yeah. So it's going to be a Man of Steel watch party. So,
are you going to watch it?
We'll see. Well,
wait, when's the last time you watched Man of Steel?
I think like right before Justice League. So it's been a little while.
Was that 2 years ago? Was that 3 years ago?
That sounds right. Yeah.
I mean, my argument still stands, right? Things happen way too early in all those movies. Like, Superman should have died this early. All the big stuff shouldn't have happened, right? I mean, it's basically the same argument.
Right.
The Endgame shouldn't have happened as a third movie. Like, the Suicide Squad was too early. Like, everything was just out of order.
Justice League was in 2017.
Yeah, like
but I would love...
Actually, I think it was just 3 years ago.
I would love nothing more than that cut of the movie to do well and everybody comes back, because I do really like the cast.
Yeah. So, Toby, why don't you tell us about Umbrella Academy?
Yeah. It's a very important thing. It just happened earlier today. If you guys can hear this is very important. This is the announcement from the cast for Umbrella Academy Season 2 to come out July 31st. Cool video.
Is that yellow?
I think so, yeah. But it's what's really funny is, I assume they all did it from their homes, but in a weird way, their homes match their characters. It was like really bizarre. So
well, they have Zoom backgrounds for that.
If you watch the video, those are not Zoom backgrounds. Trust me, they're moving around in their homes and dancing around, but. It's from a scene from the first episode. I think it was the first episode of the Umbrella Academy where they all dance to the song. And I am beyond excited. I'm just mad I have to wait all the way till July 31st. Luckily, I was going to say if it comes out on my birthday, and I was going to just watch Umbrella Academy the entire day. But yeah, finally, it's coming back. Beyond excited.
Yeah, I liked first season well enough, so. Yeah, but there's a lot of new shows coming up. I'm wrapping up some.
Nothing is like that Academy, man. The shit is the best.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. Yeah, like I don't know where they go in the second season. I'm assuming they just adapt the next arc of the comic.
Did you read the books?
No, not.
Did. Okay. Because I think in the next season they're all young.
All young?
Yeah.
Dude, it's like a whole flashback season?
I think so.
Different
Well,
actors?
maybe not. I don't know. Maybe it jumps
Can't
around in
imagine
time.
that.
Yeah. I do love the cast though, man, because the guy who plays Luthor, man, he was excellent in Pirates.
Yeah.
Black Sails show.
I still have
he was really good at. Yeah.
I still have a bunch of these, bunch of the streaming shows to catch up on. So it's tough when they drop them all at once. I have a hard time starting those shows. It's a lot easier when I have like 1 or 2 episodes of my TiVo. I can watch that when I load it and there's 13 episodes. That very quickly falls down my list to watch. But I'm sure I'll get to it eventually.
Yeah. No,
right,
I'm beyond excited. That's all I'm going to say about it. That's all.
Yeah, no. Once it comes out, let me know. We'll talk about it.
No, hell yeah.
It's a spoiler talk now.
That's the only thing I'll talk about.
Of course. Toby could talk about the first 10 minutes. Brock, you want to hang out? Cool. Otherwise, I mean, I'd say it's not.
Does it introduce Stargirl?
There's not that much to spoil. The first 10 minutes is like the stuff to talk about. The rest of it is a great introduction.
It's Dr. Midnight. It's our man. It's the Justice Society of America. It's the death of the Justice Society of America.
Oh, there you go. There's a spoiler warning. So we're gonna talk about Stargirl now. So if you want to know anything about it, go back and I've seen almost nothing. I had no idea Joel McHale was in it. I intentionally just avoid this stuff when I want to watch it. So I hadn't seen hardly anything.
Well, before you start, do you want to hear my version of it? Because my version's probably different than everybody else's version.
I want nothing more to it.
Oh, excellent. I will absolutely tell you right now. So last night, I think about maybe 2 a.m. or 3 a.m., maybe earlier because I've been waking up at 5 a.m. the last few days. I've been watching conferences from 5 a.m. to like 7. So it might have been a little earlier than that. It might have been 2 a.m. I'm like, I want to watch something before I go to bed that I usually like to do. And I'm like, man, the Higgins been tweeting about that Stargirl stuff a lot lately. That's probably out. So I go and like...
You should be honored, Ryan.
Yeah. So I go on to like, CW. I'm like, it's not there. I'm like, oh, wait, I think it's a day early on the DC app. That must be where the Higgins has watched this. So I go in DC, first big thing, giant click on button right on the DC Universe app. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to watch me some Stargirl. So I started on, there was some loud music, up again, and there was a giant fucking fight. Like, people getting thrown around. I saw Wildcat. I saw a dude with a star face that I still don't know who he is, and we're trying to figure that one out who he is. And people were swinging around. The dude with the staff was like slamming people around. They were losing. It's like a G.I. Joe episode for some reason. They were all losing. The bad guy was winning. And then I blacked out again. And then I woke up again. It was some bunch of teenagers. It had nothing to do with the part I watched. Then I blacked out again. And the next thing I knew, my alarm was going off in the morning. That's my version of Stargirl pilot right now.
That's you about got it. So that's you got.
Actually, that's not that far off, Toby.
Yeah.
Remember my version of Last Jedi? That's pretty insane too.
Kevin, how incredible was that opening sequence?
Yes, but.
Did it look cheap, Kevin? Because that's my first.
I mean, but that's just. I accept that now with those.
No, this was like. Look, this isn't. I'm not going to say this is like.
No, it's
like in-game quality, but
no,
this
of course not.
Really good.
Yeah, this
is not a CW show.
I'll just say this before I had watched it. Craig Anderson, who is not listening because he's behind on episodes, because he listens on his commute and he has nowhere to drive.
Yeah.
So he messaged me and he's like,
well, hold on,
"Did you watch Stargirl?" That
he listens on the commute now. What happened to the dog walking?
He said he listens in the car.
Oh, I thought it was his dog walks.
Anyway, he messaged me and said, "Holy shit, that first 10 minutes of Stargirl." And I said, "Don't tell me anything else." So yes, it was great. It was totally cool to see those characters.
Yeah.
I loved it. I loved the car, the getaway.
Yeah.
I remember
Solomon Grundy.
Oh, Grundy.
Wait, Born on a Monday?
But. Yeah. My butt is, and I'll just keep this vague for now, and Ryan's going to roll his eyes and probably disagree. The rest of the show was pretty rough. I mean, that opening was really good, but it set a standard that was way above anything else that came after that.
Now, it's the pilot episode. They're setting up the character. Getting to know her.
Is that what they're doing?
Yeah.
I understand that, yes. I'm saying it was like from the CW teen cliche factory. It was, I will watch again, but there were some rough patches.
It reminded me a lot of the first Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie. Her whole, like, getting the power, training, it had that which is not a bad thing.
Except that it's been done.
But I'm okay with this for one episode. Because by the end of the episode, she knows how to use the staff. We have Stripe. We have the robot. She's fought a villain. Like, I'm not gonna say they can't have the one episode to learn how to use their powers. And I like to take on the staff. They play it up like the carpet in Aladdin or Doctor Strange's cape from Doctor Strange, right? It's its own character. It's floats around and does funny stuff and kind of talks to her. So I thought that was a good take on the Starman staff. I mean, obviously very different from the comic, but it fits the tone of the show very well.
I'm just glad she's Stargirl already, because having to wait 2 seasons for fucking Nightwing, that was a nightmare. Right? I'm just glad this happened.
Well, I mean, he was Robin in episode 1, but like,
come on now. Everybody watching that show is like, when you bring it on Nightwing, okay, the costume is burning. Finally, Nightwing is coming.
Toby, he had to transition, okay?
Yeah, but I mean, he wasn't Nightwing in Titans issue number 1. I mean, it took a few
2
years.
seasons worth. Jesus Christ, they're going to cancel the show before I'm going to see like him as a regular as Nightwing.
But I thought she was great.
She's totally charming. She reminds me of Melissa Benoist in the best way.
Yep. What's his face as
Luke Wilson?
Luke Wilson, sorry, yeah. He's great. I like that take on Jeff Johns' take on Stripe kind of being like the, now he's even older. Right, so he's like, it was like when Star Spangled Kid is a teenager and he's like the 20-year-old sidekick, like that's one thing. But to actually have like, okay, now the sidekick's actually kind of this like much older guy, and the back to that original Star Spangled Kid concept. I thought that was a good. He does a really good job in that role. Very funny, very believable. I'm not mad at all about the combining of Star Spangled Kid and Starman into like one character. It makes sense as a comic book fan. If you know the original story, it would be weird and confusing and wouldn't make any sense in a TV show without the context of the 80 years of history. Basically, in the comics,
a kid character grows up to be the man version of a character.
Well, no, that's not what happens in the comic, right? So Star Spangled Kid is a character. Stripey is a character. These characters exist independent of Starman. Starman is a wholly separate character.
Well, and Starman's had a handful of versions, so himself.
Yeah. So Stargirl gets the staff from Starman, who is not like Luke Wilson's character is not related to Starman in any fashion, other than being on the Justice Society. So they took the idea that Star Spangled Kid grows up and becomes Starman and gets the staff. So they took those 2 independent characters and merged them into one. It totally works for the show because, again, as a JSA fan, it makes sense from the comics because you have the history of these characters. But if they were to be like, well, there was this character, then this character, and he's related to this character, but she gets the staff from this character, like that doesn't make any sense.
Well, they had originally done that, and then and then Crisis happened, so this is what we get.
Sure. So it's a good combination, but come on, let's talk about that opening 10 minutes. Holy crap! So I like the fact that we don't see Jay, no Jay Garrick. We see the helmet.
Yep.
So maybe that's going to leave the window open for a
for John Wesley
cameo.
Snipes.
maybe some cameo in the future. Maybe. Who knows, right?
I was thinking when it started that they were under some massive new kind of threat. Like in the comics, they fought some demon, right? Am I remembering this right? When they get sent to that purgatory where they're having that endless battle. This is
yeah. Like,
I was a little disappointed that it was just their regular enemies who had suddenly just learned how to kick the JSA's ass. I mean,
it is sort of the Injustice Society. It's just its own little take on.
Who are suddenly like super powerful and way more awesome than the heroes. But okay, maybe they'll go back and fill that in.
You had all that like green glowy crap.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah,
something else could have been involved there, but they had to get them off the board because obviously we're going to see the new versions of the characters through the show. But they're not going. They're going to. These characters will be back at some degree, whether it's flashbacks or whether it's now we have to go save the JSA, right? We have to, whatever it is. So. They had that still picture that she's looking at the picture later in the episode of the original JSA. So there is actually a character in the top like corner. I don't know who it is. Kevin, I'll have to show it to you later.
Yeah,
there's a character on the thing, and I'm like, who is that supposed to be? I don't actually know. The fact that we have Thunderbolt is like never in a million years. But it's Jeff Johns, so of course.
Yeah, you need to stop saying, I never thought I'd see. Let's just say it's all wide open now at this point in our lives.
After Mr. Mind, it's just
don't be surprised by anything.
I'm not surprised with no Green Lantern. I kind of figured Green Lantern is kind of taken off the table, and that's understandable. That's okay. And also, it would have been cool to see, but it makes sense that he's not in it. No Spectre. Again, understandable. Those characters don't really jive with this take on the JSA, which is a much more... I mean, Starman is the most powerful character in this version of the team. Green Lantern and Spectre are like gods. The characters like Wildcat...
was Dr. Fate in there? In the photo?
He was in the photo.
Okay.
But he was not in the fight.
Yeah.
So...
I mean, because the green could be Wotan. Like, I'm just trying to think of an enemy that's...
They don't show any of the Dr. Fate stuff.
Yeah.
Any of it. I mean, you don't see the Thunderbolt. Again, the Thunderbolt is like literally... It's like... I mean, he's a fifth dimension being. He's basically a god, right? He's like Mixoplex or anything. Like Spittlix. But they took those characters out of this fight, so they could easily do stuff down the road.
You guys make me really want to watch this right after the podcast.
Watch the first 10 minutes.
You will like the remainder of the show, Toby, because you like that teenage kind of, not a little bit, but it's fun. She does a great job. There's a scene where she gets the staff and she's going after a bunch of bullies, kind of accidentally. Like, that's a cool scene, No,
I'm not trash talking anybody. I mean, I've already loved that stuff, so I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
No, I thought it was really well done, and I mean. That opening 10 minutes.
So let me ask you this though, not show related. So I got the JSA Jeff Johns run, which should be his entire JSA run, but I'm missing the Stargirl and Stripe books, aren't I? Those are not.
The Stripe came out. The collected edition just came out this week. It's got the photo cover. If you don't hate that, but the entire run just came out in the graphic novel this week. It's been collected before, but
as a hardback ever? Do they have a deluxe version?
No, never a hardcover. Yeah, never a hardcover. It was only 12 issues, and then I think there was like a one-off story.
So they could easily do a deluxe at least.
They could.
All right.
They could do like the 1 through 12 in a deluxe, yeah.
Yeah.
Was there like 1 through 12 in like a 1,000 issue or 0 issue or something?
No, I will buy that on heartbeat. But I don't actually have that stuff basically, because that was like the beginning of Jeff Johns, right? Or no?
Yeah. That's his first real work for DC.
Yeah. And so the most personal from what I hear.
Yeah. It's weird when they originally solicited that JSA omnibus. I know a bunch of us were like, yes, we understand you want to make this the Jeff Johns omnibus, but it literally doesn't have the first 4 issues. You're going to pick up like half an arc in.
Yeah.
That does not make sense. Like when they collected the Grant Morrison Justice League as just his issues, it worked because the other issues people did were just like fill in unconnected stories.
Sure.
When Jeff Johns took over the Flash, he took over in the middle of a story arc. Right?
Yeah.
So the Jeff Johns Flash has to have those issues prior to that because his arc starts in the middle, unless they just take those issues out.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But again, why would you collect 150 issues of Justice Society and not collect the first 4 or 3.5 that he didn't do? Right?
So is that the version I got, or I got a newer version that has them?
The Omnibus has them all.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. He did not do those first. He didn't do the Giants or the what was it? The special. What are they called? What was the special?
The annuals?
I don't know what it was. No, it was like the Secret Files and Origins. He didn't do that, and he didn't do the first 2.5 or 3.5 issues. He came in as a co-writer on the 3rd or 4th issue, and by the 6th issue, he's the permanent writer. So it was 6th or 7th. It's really quick, but the context is all set up, and stuff like Stargirl joining the team all comes in those issues.
But before that, I should read Stargirl and Stripe.
Yeah, it's a fun series. Yeah, I mean, it's light. It's not, it's not groundbreaking. I don't think in any.
I actually look, but based on everything I've seen, I think it's a character I'll really like.
I mean, it reminds me a lot of Impulse, right? It's just it was a very fun book, and they were, obviously there's throwbacks to the JSA, and there's some cool characters in there, but it's, this is not, Infinite Crisis or Green Lantern Rebirth Jeff Johns.
Yeah, sure.
Much more smaller story.
In ways, I might even like that stuff better. Who knows? Yeah.
You might. Yeah. I mean, it has the history and the legacy of the JSA, but it's not the defining feature of the book.
So there's no regular comic book version cover? It's just a show cover one?
Well, there were the original. They collected into 2 trade paperbacks before.
Okay.
I have those. I have the 2 single volumes. You may be able to find those cheap. They've been out of print, but they're probably cheap out there. So.
Well, I've been on the hunt for so many books lately, I might as well add more to it.
So, Kevin, you all in Stargirl? You gonna? I mean,
I don't want to say I'm all in, but I'll watch again.
Okay. Yeah, Toby, I really wanted you to watch, and Brock too. I think.
Yeah, it's literally recording. It was recording while we've been talking. So
I'll watch it after this, man. I'll watch it right after this.
And there's short of the random I like one of there's a random mean girl that calls her a bitch at one point. And they may even edit that out, but CW says bitch. I mean, I don't think that's a problem. Totally kid friendly, I would think for the most part. There's nothing sexual in it. There's no massive violence. There's a big fight scene at the beginning, but your daughter will totally dig it, I think. So you should see if she wants to watch it. It's very fun first episode.
Yeah, I looked up that picture that you were talking about that she looks at. I'm like, I see the Thunder attached to the guy on the other side.
Yeah, so that's Johnny Thunder. There's a character right next to him. I don't have the photo here in front of me, but there's a character. I'm like, I don't know who that is because it's really tough to see because she looks at it pretty quick.
Yeah. Well, it's. I mean, in this still, it kind of looks like a bird character.
I hope you're going to put this up as the image for the episode, because otherwise this is going to be painful.
Hawkman and Hawkgirl are in it too. Which
yes,
and you do see Jay Garrick Flash dead center.
Right, but you can't really see his face. They do a good job of blurring most of the people's face. The only character you could actually see their face, really see them, are
the ones in the
Starman.
front.
It was Starman because that's who she's looking at. They're focused on him because it's he doesn't have his mask on. Yeah, I watched it and I'm like, oh, is that Joel McHale? Oh, okay, that works. So
yeah, because the character that you guys are talking about looks like he has a something around his neck that's like a tablet or something.
Yeah, I gotta go look at that again and see if I can figure out who that was because I'm looking at every character and I'm like, okay, clearly I know who all these people are. I'm like, I don't know who that is. So
what was it?
It's a bad feeling.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right, we got a couple questions here on Patreon before we wrap up.
Questions.
Edgar Moreno is perfect. Brock, this is all for you. He says, any advice for keeping up on shows? I have 2 little boys. I watched Stargirl in 4 different sittings.
Wow.
I had actually planned to watch Stargirl this afternoon, thinking it had been on already, but I guess DC Universe released it on the night of the 17th, like really late at night on the 17th, and then it was on
super late. Yeah,
but everything kept saying, all the advertisements I'd seen said it's out on the 18th. So for me, I thought it was CW was out on the 18th because that's when I saw the commercials. But I guess that wasn't the case. So I ended up finishing up Upload from Amazon in that time I allotted.
So watching the answer is throw your kids in the bedroom, lock them in the bedroom, and then watch shows whenever you want.
No, it's you. It's for me. I watch TV after they go to bed, and that's when I normally absorb like media like that. Is after my kids are asleep, and I can go in the living room and I can put my headphones on and watch a TV show or a movie or something. So, I can binge watch something if I keep that schedule in about a week, but it's hard to stop watching and go to bed at a reasonable time sometimes because you're so engrossed in it. But it's just when the kids are asleep, like, because I honestly can't stand, having to stop something and then come back to it later and pick it up again.
Or do what me and Toby do, watch 5 minutes of a show. If it plays the entire episode, you rewind, you watch 4 of those 5 minutes again to recap what happened. You get 5 more episodes or 5 more minutes into the episode, you fall asleep again. You rewind because you got all the way through the entire episode. You spend 20 minutes trying to figure out where you were.
What you're doing is driving me nuts. Again. So stop.
Start watching it again. You watch 5 more minutes. And you pass out again. This is how I've watched every episode of Stargate over the last 12 years. Like this is just my every night. So, question from Gilbert. He says, I'm sure you guys will talk about this, but just in case, what are the big 2 trying to accomplish with finishing series digitally with no physical issues? I collect Hawkeye in single issues, but I will not I cannot collect it physically. While Supergirl is one of those series I sporadically pick up because of the variant covers. I'm sure I'm not the only person who will buy this comic digitally. I'm sure I'm not the only person who will not buy this comic digitally.
You like saying it nicely. I like saying it's DC's fuck you to people who buy print comics that are subscription only.
But I mean, it makes no sense because they're not going to sell half as many copies as they would digital only, let alone all the copies. I mean, maybe they just said, look, we're just trying to act some stuff. Our printer needs to cut out. We don't have enough room to print everything. We literally need to take space off the print schedule. These books have been canceled already. Let's just dump them digitally so we don't have to worry about it. Same with Marvel. I mean, this very well could literally be the reasoning. But, just delay it then at that point.
Yeah,
or do some sort of special print.
Like I said, combine all those 3 issues into one as the last big final issue of the series, first you got 2 issues of Supergirl, just make it a 48-page special. You got 3 issues of Terrifics. All right, it's 3 more issues of Terrifics, but put it together, just shove it out as a big thing. Yeah. I mean, that saves. You're cutting 5 titles off the printer. You only printed 2. Wow. If you do it that way.
Yeah, I mean, it's about page count and everything. So, but yeah, it's real shitty. It's shitty when Marvel did it. Look, if the book is just straight up canceled and they're like, we're just not going to publish this at all, Kevin, we'll see about We'll see about
Inferior 5.
What the hell is Inferior? Yeah, we'll see if we'll see what happens there. Look, if Supergirl can't publish those final issues, I can't imagine that's going to finish off. But I don't know. Yeah, it just.
Well, I mean,
sucks.
Again, it
sucks for everyone.
I am not inclined to buy it digitally because I don't want it digitally. Why do I want 2 random digital issues that I have never read, don't care, don't have any care in the world for, and then say, oh well, we'll print it in the trade. That okay? Are you going to print the last trade of the series ever? Because DC's had a great track record of not finishing runs of trades that are low
Well, I also don't want to trade. I don't want volume 9 of Supergirl.
Yeah,
to be like my only volume. Like I don't know that I care that much. I like Supergirl. I have it. I want it. I have.
Yeah, I've been enjoying the Supergirl stuff since Mark Andreyko took over, and then Jodie Hauser's been doing a great job with what she has had. It's been good, but for me, it's just kind of like, all right, well, those were a series.
Yeah, and they'll just. Unless something happens, they'll just maintain. I'll never read them, I guess. I don't know. And finally, Josh says, some of the folks on the show mentioned being out of comics for a while and coming back. Did anyone do this? Was there anything that you were shocked by when you came back? I vividly remember walking into a shop in the late 90s and was unpleasantly surprised to see Electric Blue Superman. I never really left. I mean, clearly I've come in and out of series, and so, like, I'll pick up a book and be like, wait, who the hell are any? Like the X-Men. I read, like, not every X-Men book, but I ignore a lot of the kind of, like, New Mutants and New X-Men and the teen characters. And whenever they show up, I'm like, who the fuck are any of these people?
Which is weird because you love the teen characters.
Yeah, I love
the Teen Titans.
When I was
the New Warriors. Like,
when I was a teen character.
What are you talking about? You love teen characters now. Damian is probably one of your favorite characters in the DC universe. That asshole Superboy Prime is probably one of your favorite characters, and he's a teen.
Old souls. Okay.
No, yeah, what? No, bullshit.
If there's an episode where Damian Wayne is playing Fortnite, I'll probably stop reading forever. If he's flossing, I'm out.
What if he dabs?
You stop reading, Brock. Toby,
what?
You pretty much read. You had some ups and downs. Kevin, I don't remember. You didn't really stop, right?
I've had brief absences, but nothing that where I would come back and be shocked. It hasn't been long enough for things to majorly change.
Well, I didn't necessarily stop reading, but I moved countries, and it was a shock there, right? Because I did not know what the Age of Apocalypse was.
Your Gambit story. Yeah,
my Gambit story. My Gambit story.
Yeah.
The whole Wolverine with his hand chopped off. I thought that was real. Nobody explained to me that was an alternative reality, right? I was like, what? And, like Cyclops having his eyes poked out by Wolverine. And then all the Target toy shelves were filled with Wildstorm toys, like from the Wildcats toys. So I was really confused. Yeah. I was really, really shocked and confused during that time. But once I figured things out, then, everything went back to normal.
Yeah, I could very easily imagine, like, not reading a book for 10 years and then coming back and being like, this all sounds stupid. But when you're living in it, it may be stupid, but it just kind of becomes the next thing. You eventually forget about it or it moves on. Like, you just don't worry about it. But if you had to, like, look at, like, a 10-year history of every story arc, you'd go crazy because you're like, what the fuck is all this shit? But it just happens month to month.
I'll tell you a flip side, because I've been collecting all these Epic Collection and omnibuses, the groups I've joined. Some of them, I feel like they never read the stuff to begin with. So there's people excited about runs. I'm like, man, people were not excited about that run. But if you guys are, all for it, man. But, I'm a little surprised about it.
You know the story that one of Marvel's best-selling graphic novels in the last, 10 years was the Clone Saga stuff?
Yeah, I am thoroughly surprised. I mean, look, I'm at the point where I'm like, was I wrong? Did I get it wrong? I'm like, all these people can't be excited about this, can they? Like, I'm like half tempted picked up the series at this point. I was never going to touch that.
Give it 10 years, and there's going to be like some weird nostalgia for New 52. People they're like, oh yeah, remember that? That was pretty good. Okay, so I've been talking about this last week, where I've been going through and looking at all these books post-crisis, and there is a lot of stuff where I at the time probably would. I didn't care less. But I'm looking at it now being like, oh yeah, this like 0 Hour Dr. Fate series where it's like some like punk rock guy. I could get into that. That may be okay.
Yeah, so there's two ways about it, right? I mean, yeah. Look, the only thing I liked about the Clone Saga was Scarlet Spider, but now I'm legitimately like talking to Charlie about it, going, maybe I should pick up those books. I would have never touched that.
Think about the things that would shock you if you had been gone from comics. Like if you were gone from comics for many years and you came back in the late 80s when it was that Giffen, DeMatteis, Kevin Maguire Justice League, You'd be like, WTF? Like you'd either love it or you'd think it's complete garbage.
Yeah.
But I can't. It's hard. Other than the New 52, it's hard to think of things that are so vastly different. And I think my longest period of being gone from comics was maybe a year, but more likely like 7-8 months. So there just wasn't enough time for some shocking development.
Well, think about this. Imagine explaining the last 10-year history of Captain America, right? So Captain America's normal Captain America book, they bring back Bucky. Bucky is actually been around this whole time as an assassin for the Russians. He's then shot into the future, the Jack Kirby future weird Cap story.
Yeah, well, I would leave that part out. I would just go read the Brubaker stuff. And then
don't read anything else.
He's secretly always been an agent of Hydra, and then he talks with some little girl who rewrites reality, and then they reboot the Marvel Universe, and now he's Captain America.
Wait, is the Jack Kirby part that Dimension Z?
Yeah. Like, explaining it like that sounds really dumb. Yeah. All of that, even the Brubaker stuff sounds really dumb, right?
Yeah.
But at the time when you're reading it, I mean, the Brubaker stuff's incredible. The Dimension Z stuff, whatever. But even, like, I think there was a cool story behind, like, the Hydra Cap stuff. It was the wrong story for the wrong point. Like 2016 was like not the year for that. Like that was just not the right time for that.
I have a feeling that that's one of the books. In about 10 years, people are going to be like, "I really want that trade." I never read it. The news were big on that, but I want to read it now.
I guarantee you, because again, it's an interesting idea. I think it was the wrong book, the wrong time. It didn't work the way people wanted it to, but I think people will look back at that and say, "Oh, that was actually that." Out of the context of the world, it's actually it could be an interesting story. Yeah. And again, I think once we're far enough away from New 52, there's interesting stuff in there. I've defended half the line the entire time. I can't defend like Superman and the Teen Titans and a few of the really bad stuff.
Can he defend Power Girl and Huntress?
The world's finest.
Yeah,
the world's finest was good.
No, I did not like it.
Well, if you told a traditional fan, if you just summed up, oh yeah, Superman's son was out in space with Jor-El on a mission while Superman and his wife were on Earth.
Right.
There are so many levels to what I just said.
Yeah.
That would cause some short circuiting in a brain.
Yeah.
And then you could blow them away with the Superman and Lois of that time period was pulled out of this time period and shoved here. It's because they skipped the whole they were in brain.
Explain.
No, when you talk about stuff like that, it's ridiculous.
Explain the original X-Men being in regular continuity.
Yeah.
Or the Inhumans replacing all mutants for 5 years.
Yeah. Remember the 2 years when Marvel didn't publish any X-Men comics?
Yeah.
I think it was the Inhumans.
Remember when Fantastic Four was gone?
Huh?
Remember that Inhumans TV show?
Hey, I'll defend that one. I actually don't think it's bad.
You're all alone there, Toby.
That's fine. I'm all alone.
How long were we without Fantastic Four?
It was almost 5 years, I think. 4 or 5 years. I think it was 2014 to 2018, 2019.
Sounds about right.
A long time.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I mean, I was never huge into comics as a kid. I just enjoyed them and popped into the comic store and picked up what I thought was cool looking. And then high school is when I started and then I kind of stopped for a little while. And then high school, I came back into it, but not again. I didn't do a huge deep dive. So I wasn't necessarily surprised, but when I came back, I dropped it, came back for a minute and then dropped it again. And then when I came back to work for you, it was just kind of I just want to read good stories. What are the good stories?
That's the best way to do it. All right. That is a wonderful, wonderful episode. Thank you, Veryall. Thank you all very much.
Veryall's here.
We are going to wrap up. Please support.
News item that you missed.
What's it?
We got to talk about the ever so awesome, probably craziest piece that Jim has done.
Oh, the bizarre, the Brainiac one.
Oh my freaking god!
Kevin, did you see this?
I did.
I saw that. I saw Ryan. I think your tweet was better on it. Going, wait, you wanted to take a break from doing detailed things, and so you went to headshots, and then you did this one.
Yeah, I mean, every week we've been talking about the sketches Jim Lee's doing on his Twitter account and Instagram account.
He's been flexing his muscles so hard these days.
Yeah,
it's nuts.
I looked at that Brainiac piece for a second, and it took me like I had to kind of realize what I was looking at, and I'm like, that's kind of a wow. I will not spoil it if you have not seen it. Go look it up. It is.
And look at the close-up images.
Yeah.
It's a top.
For all the people that thought Tim doesn't have it anymore, these 60 sketches he's doing are unbelievable.
Yeah, it's really on another level.
Well, I mean, incredible. Jim and Art Adams, between those two guys, the two death pieces that those two guys did are two of the best like representations of that character I've ever seen in any medium.
Yeah. They are. It's pretty incredible. Yeah, that Brainiac piece is. Again, you think about characters that you want Jim Lee to draw that might be the coolest things ever and the most popular, and like the ones he's doing that are just knocking it out of the park are not the characters I would have associated him with.
I actually think he's putting more effort in those. I think he looks at it as a challenge. Like, I haven't done this guy in like 20 years. I've never done this
or ever.
Or never done this character before. Let me like go all out because it might be the only time I ever draw this person. So
yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, look, he draws an incredible Batman, but he's drawn an incredible Batman hundreds of times.
Yeah, right? Yeah. So I think he has lot
drawn
more fun with these. Yeah,
as far as I know. Yeah. You don't get too much. Bizarro or Brainiac from him. Or Bizarro for that matter. All right. Thank you all for listening. Our top tier backers on patreon.com/comicconspiracy. Thank you to Joe Duff, Andrew Nelson Mendez. He's over at the Recovery of an Anime Junkie podcast. Check them out. Craig Anderson at craigpanderson.com. If you're a professional and you want to become an even better professional, you should take the advice of Craig Anderson. James Laws, Jimmy Rivera at the Social Forum podcast, Social Forum, FOURUM. Jesse Pearson at the Comic Book Matter podcast. It's a comic book podcast about how comic books impact us and change our lives. So go give them a listen. Mr. Rama, our lovely Hellboy man himself, at Hellboy_ebooks on Twitter. Follow his pull list. He posts all his favorite books for the week every Tuesday. So
Hellboy.
Books are shipping again, so
no. Say it isn't so.
So yeah. And Chav, he's like back at one time to help support during the coronavirus shutdown. So thank you for your support, Chav, and everyone at patreon.com/comicconspiracy.
Thank you.
Please follow us. Listen to our previous episodes if you haven't already. They're at comicconspiracypodcast.com, geekbox.net, Apple Podcast, and Spotify. Rate and review us if you can. That always helps. If you're on YouTube, go to youtube.com/comicsconspiracy. That's comics with an S. Our episodes are hosted there, just the audio, but you can go on there and check them out. And for any long-form questions of the Comic Conspiracy, geekbox.net, you can send them there. If it's a little longer than a tweet, that might be the best place to put it. If you'd like to buy comic books from us, you could do it at 913 West El Camino Real in Sunnyvale, California. But of course, you cannot come through the front door, but you can pick up as long as you are socially distant from the customer behind you. Order on our website at comicsconspiracy.biz. And of course, you can order for in-store pickup. And you can walk right up to our front door and please wear a mask. We have our new comics coming in this week. It'll be curious, but our first real official Wednesday back is going to look like. I don't. It's going to be an odd one. We're not going to see a regular comic shipment until August or September at this point. We're going to have a lot of these really small, weird weeks, but things are going to start kicking back. So we'll see what happens. SpiritofBrock.com. That's Brock's blog, video pull-ups and unboxing videos. Go over there and check out his stuff. Charlie's got the Wanderers in the Fourth Dimension podcast. If you like Doctor Who, you can go listen to them discuss every episode of Doctor Who in chronological order. And LeanneHill.com is my wife Leanne's website. She has all her art as well linked there to an Etsy store you can purchase prints of. So please go purchase those. If you're on Twitter, my name is Ryan Higgins. Ryan, please give me a follow. Brock is Brock Sager. Toby is Toby XI. Kevin is That Kevin Sharp. The store is Comics Con Store. We all appreciate a follow. And you can listen to the Geek Box. I'm on that every week. We talked about Stargirl. We talked about the Snyder Cut. So some duplicate topics there, of course, this week. Big nerd news.
Animal Crossing stuff.
I don't think we talked too much about Animal Crossing. I think we just mostly talk about how the Unreal Engine is not what video games are going to really look like on the PS5. Not anytime soon. That's a really nice vertical slice, but unfortunately, video games just don't look like that quite yet. But maybe one day. And of course, Manga Machinations. Been on that a few times. Go over there and check those guys out. Good friends of the podcast. If you like manga and anime, you can listen to Manga Machination. All right, that is it. I'm going to hit stop on this recording now, and we'll be back next week for more stuff about comic books. And probably talk Stargirl for a few weeks at least. I don't know if we'll talk every episode as they come out, but at least the first few we'll talk about. I'm sure I'll have a nice wrap-up by the end of the finale as well. So if you have not watched Stargirl, go check that out for next week's episode. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next week.